Hello, good morning. All right, so this morning I will be talking about thinking before you speak. I think I read a saying somewhere that said, think before you speak and read before you think. And I think what the writer was trying to say is, our thoughts have to be you have to filter your thoughts. You have to refine your thoughts. And one way to refine your thoughts is by reading. I think I mentioned that in one of my earlier blogs, things that we can do to cultivate a healthy mindset. And it's very important sometimes that you expose yourself to other people's wisdom, through this written word, because the things that you say ultimately come from your thought process, come from what you're thinking. And sometimes it's just better to be quiet, period, and not say something. I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said, you probably, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but you probably want to be quiet and talk less. Otherwise, when you speak, you erase all doubts of your ignorance, and so I read a little story somewhere, and I wanted to share that with everybody, and just to kind of illustrate how it's important to think before we speak. The story was talking about two geese that were getting ready to migrate, I think, southward, and a frog wanted to migrate with them and asked them if he could come along. And they were like, sure, why not? And so the problem became, how do they, do it? I mean, geese fly, the frog can't fly, so the frog thought about it for a minute and then came up with an idea and said, okay, he got a very strong, sturdy grass and told the geese, you hold one end of the grass, you hold the other end of the grass, and I will just clamp my mouth to the middle of it, and you can take off. And that way, migrating with the frog just hanging on by his mouth. I guess you can figure out where this is going. So anyway, the three friends took off and were on their way migrating. And some men who were, down on the on looking at them from below, noticed this strange migration and said, that's a very interesting concept or interesting idea. I wonder who came up with that idea. And of course, the frog, feeling full of himself and feeling very, he allowed his vanity to take over at that point. And then he opened his mouth to say, I came up with the idea. And of course, you can imagine what happened. The frog fell down, to the floor to his death. And what does that story tell us? I mean, granted, the frog came up with the idea, right? And here were people giving accolades to the interesting idea that he came up with. But did he really have to broadcast that he was the one that came up with the idea? And even if he did he have to do it at that particular point in time? That's what came from not thinking before speaking, because granted, he had a brilliant idea at one point, but here is where, here's a situation where he really should have thought before opening his mouth to say something, but he did not. And so, my friends, what am I saying? There are times in life where we see things happen. There are times in life where we feel that we know certain things, and especially when we're in an argument with family and friends, or in a situation where you just want to say something because you feel like you ought to say something. Granted, there are times when we should speak, but also there are times when when you speak louder by not saying anything. And so that's what we need to learn today, is how to apply wisdom to know when we should speak and when we should be quiet. Sometimes you don't always have to speak, but sometimes you need to actually process what it is you're about to say in your head before you let it out of your mouth. Because once it comes out, whatever it is that you say out of your mouth is pretty much going to tell people who you are. what you think, how you think, you know, and that says a lot. That says a lot. So, my friends, today, my encouragement to you, my major fitness tip to you today is think before you talk. Think, think real hard before you talk. You know, I wish you all the best, and I hope that this message make will have an impact, will have a significant impact on somebody's life today. You have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you later.